Are you ready for outer borders? Now that we've got all of this, we are almost near the end. Hey everyone, Cristin here, and we are continuing with our February cuties. So if you have completed your triangles, oh my gosh, aren't they adorable? Oh my gosh, this was just the cutest ever design. I just love this. It was a lot of work, right? Did you do yours yet? So there are 10 applique pieces with all of those hearts, and then the heart fabrics, and then the heart vinyl, and it was a lot of cutting. It was a lot of changing thread colors. It took a lot of time, but it's so worth it because this is just darn cute. So darn cute. So once we have all of this done, it's time to move on to the outer borders. So let's go ahead and talk about what we need today. So actually, I want to tell you one thing. So as you remember in my tutorial, I mentioned to be very careful on the triangles because the regular fabric and the stabilizer are pretty close in color. It looks pretty similar. So to be very careful that when you're putting down your main fabric that you don't have the stabilizer side up. And I'm pretty sure that one of mine, I think it's this one, it's hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure that this is the stabilizer side up. Even after I told all of you guys to be careful about it, I did mine late at night and I'm not going to worry about it. It's hard to tell, but I'm pretty sure if you look closely, so the fabric look versus a little bit of a woven look. So I'm pretty sure I messed up, but that's okay, right? We're not going for perfection. We are enjoying the journey. So that's all right. I love it anyway. It's all good. All right, so we're going to talk about the outer borders today, and we're also going to talk about the corner blocks because we're going to do those together. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's talk about the corner blocks first. So they are on page 41, and in the directions, it says to cut these at 2.5 by 2.5. It is a red silky solid, and in the directions, it says 2.5 by 2.5, but I recommend cutting them to 3 by 3. So just like the filler blocks, it just makes it so that it's going to catch when we do our quilting on these. And if you did them 2.5 by 2.5, it does not matter at all. That will work totally fine. But I like to do them a 1/2 inch larger so that it will catch when we do the quilting, and we can use that basting stitch as our cut line to trim it up if we stabilized well. I do stabilize mine. I'm a big fan of stabilizing and that crisp, clean look that it gives the end product. So again, either 2.5 by 2.5 or 3 by 3, 4 pieces. It's a red silky solid for the corner blocks. All right, and then we get to decide what thread color we want. We're gonna quilt these. By the way, so batting, I haven't cut mine yet. But the batting, you're going to want, if this is 3 by 3, you're going to want it to be 3 by 3 for your batting, because our quilting is going to be 2.5. It's really going to be 2. But anyway, 3 by 3 for your batting. I haven't cut mine yet. I actually ran out of batting, so I'm using my scraps. But 3 by 3 for your batting, and we are going to quilt this with the Biddy blocks. It's Biddy Block Love Bug in a 2 by 2 design. Biddy Block Love Bug. So I think it'd be really cute for that to stand out. I was originally leaning toward pink. I was thinking I'd use pink for the red corners and then red for the pink outer borders so that there's a little contrast, but I don't know. I haven't decided. Have you thought about this yet? So if we did the pink on there, it would stand out just a little bit more than if you did a red. Or you could do like a cream. That would make it stand out really well. That actually would be pretty because it would pull out from the outer borders. So I haven't decided for sure yet. I'll decide when I get there. I want something to stand out. I haven't even looked at the design yet to see how cute it is, but I bet it's pretty darn cute. All right, so that's the corner blocks. And then let me put this back in my packet so I don't lose them. And then we need the outer borders. So for the outer borders, it is that pink with the floral on it, again on page 41. And in the book, it says to make these 2.5 by 18. I did mine at 2.5 by 20. So, you know, I always mention, I really suggest doing the inner borders and outer borders longer than what is in the directions, and then just cutting after assembly. That's my preference. You do you, whatever works for you. As I said before, I cut them the right size one time before, and that stitching can pull them in. Even when you stabilize, you want to always check to make sure. I do stabilize my borders. So if you're not stabilizing, especially, and you cut to 2.5 by 18, they may be just a little short when you get to assembling them, and that's a bummer. So you don't want that to happen. So anyway, I cut mine to 2.5 by 20, and then I will just trim it down after I assemble with our current project. So yeah, I'm sure you know what that means, but once I get this sewn on here, then I would trim down the extra bits at the end after it's sewn on and after it's all quilted, because then you know it's not going to get shorter, right? All right, so 2.5 by 20 is my recommendation. 2.5 by 18 is what the directions say. So that means that we are going to want batting that is 2 by 17. So just like how we did on the inner borders, I'm going to attach my borders by using a glue stick and take out those first 2 steps. I just think that that makes it so easy. And again, since I'm out of my batting, I have a couple that are shorter. So you want 4 pieces. Let's start by saying that. You want 4 pieces that are 2 by 17.5. You don't want this any longer or wider. You want it exactly that size so that you have that 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. And as I mentioned before, as you're pushing this down with the glue stick, it can grow. It can get a little bit longer. So check right before you get to the ending to make sure that you still have that 1/4 inch seam allowance on the bottom as well. So I have 3 that are 2 by 17.5, and then I have 2 that are shorter, and I'm just going to use 2 on my project because I ran out of batting. So that will work fine too. So use up your scraps for your outer borders. Like I said, 2 by 17.5 for your batting. And we're going to quilt those, the outer borders, with border squares 2 inch. And it shows that they used red, the original one, they used red. And I think that that would be really pretty. What did I do with my fabric? See, I already lost them. There it is. Okay, so I think red on that pink would be really pretty, stand out a little bit more. That's why I was thinking the contrast, red with the pink and then pink with the red, but I'm not sure that that pink will stand out quite enough, so I might do a cream. But I'll decide for sure when I get there, and I'll share in the tutorial for you so you can decide what you want to do as well. So that's it. So the corner blocks and the outer borders, that's all for today. Nice and easy. And so let's go ahead and get started. By the way, I am going to merge them into one hooping, actually 2 hoopings. So I'm going to use the 2 by 10. The 2 by 10 is actually about 9 7/16. So either way, we won't be able to get 18 inches of quilting. The longest one is 14 inches, and it's not even really 14 inches. So I'm going to do 2 of the 2 by 10, and so it'll be 2 hoopings, and I'm going to merge them together and join them and align and distribute and all that stuff that we did for our inner borders. So I will show you how to do that and bring you over to the computer. Hey everyone, I am at my computer now and ready to show you how to merge those outer borders. It is lunchtime, perfect time to work at the computer. So I'm going to open up Embellishment Essentials, and I'm on my 4x4 hoop right now, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. You can always see your hoop size right down here at the bottom. And I'm going to go ahead and change it. I'm going to do those 10-inch designs. So I probably need, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Let's see if it'll fit in a 10 by 10. I doubt it will. I'm thinking I might need larger. But let's just see. All right, so I went to this preferences folder and clicked on the hoop size, and then I'm going to go here to this compass and click on H so that it zooms in just to the hoop. All right, and right here down at the bottom, you can see I'm on my 10.5 by 10.5 hoop. All right, so we're going to start by bringing in the first design. I go to this merge stitch file. Okay, so my designs, I have them on my desktop. I'm going to go to, let's see, Cristin's desktop, and let's see, Cuties table topper 2 with my girlfriend's quilt shop, and there are the quilting designs right there. Click that plus sign to open it up, and the plus sign to show the embroidery files. I use Pez for my machine, and we are looking for, let's see, we need both. Let's go ahead and start with the bitty blocks so we can see how cute those are. So we are looking for bitty blocks right here in the block by block method, and the February it says love bug. Oh, so it's the wording love bug. That is very cute. So I'm going to go ahead and double click on that, and it will go to the center. So on this, we definitely don't need our 10 by 10 hoop. We need a smaller hoop. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to see if it will fit. I think I'll do 8 by 8. Could probably even do 6 by 6. Let's try that. So a 5 by 7 would work, I believe. Looks like, so if we have 3, 6, I think I'm going to do my 8 by 8. I'm going to do 8 by 8. Sorry about that. So really it will fit in any of these, but since we have the overhang of the fabric, I'm just going to use my 8 by 8 to have a little bit more room. So you saw I went to the preferences folder. I'm now on my 8 by 8 hoop, and I'm going to go ahead and click this H button again to zoom in. And so we're going to make some minor changes to this like we usually do with the color so that some will join and some will not join. So let's go ahead and run through that really quickly. So this first one is the placement and the tack down, first and second one for the batting. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the color, and I'm going to choose the first color that comes up, which is dark aqua. And as I've mentioned in the past, the color doesn't matter. You just want something that they will all be the same to join. And we don't want the default one blues and oranges to join here because that would defeat the purpose of having the batting stopping and the main fabric stopping. So we're going to just change all of them so that we get to choose what joins together and what doesn't. All right, so that was dark aqua for the first one. The second one is the tack down of the batting. I'm going to click on the color, and the first color that comes up is Blaze, and say OK. And then the third one is the placement for the main fabric. Click on the color. We already used dark aqua, so we're going to choose Marine, or the next color down for you. And then 1-4 is the placement, or I'm sorry, the tack down or the basting stitch of the main fabric. Click on the color, and we already used Blaze, so I'm going to choose Oriole. And then this default 17 turquoise, you don't need to change it because we're going to join all of those. But if you wanted to do a different color for each corner, then you would make sure to change the color for each one. But I'm just going to change it to Sprout. And again, you actually don't need to change that. It's not going to group with anything else. So that one is all good. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and now I'm going to move this to the corner here. And you'll see we have a lot of extra room, so a 6 by 6 would work. It definitely would. I'm going to go ahead and change it just so I can see, get a visual of how close they would be. You could do a 5 by 7. You would just do more of them lengthwise, and one off to the side. Either whatever size you want to do will work fine. Make sure it's not over the hoop size. So this yellow is the hoop corners, so you want to make sure that it's within that. All right, so I'm going to just bring it way over to the corner here, and that one's all done. So I'm going to go ahead and say Control C like Cristin on my keyboard, and then Control V like Victor or Victory. All right, Control V to paste it, and then it goes right on top of the other one. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it and drag it over to the side here. All right, and then we need another 2. So again, we're going to hit Control V like Victory, Control V. I heard that someone was having a hard time understanding what letter that I'm telling you to paste, and so that's why I'm making a point of saying Control V for Victory. All right, so that's the third one. Another Control V for Victory for the fourth one, and we'll bring it over to this corner here, and you can see we have plenty of room. Plenty of room on this. Is my 6 by 6 hoop. So whatever hoop size works for you. This is a small little corner block, so we don't need a lot of room. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close these just so I can see them all. All right, and you could do that. We don't need to do a line and distribute. You're just utilizing the entire hoop here. You want them over to the 4 corners. All right, and so I'm going to go ahead and do the utility color sort, because right now, as you can see down in this right-hand corner, we have 20 color steps. So we want to bring that down, and so I'm going to go to utility color sort, and it thinks about it, and then it reduces it by 15 color changes. So I'm going to click New View. It opens another tab. You can see that we have them all in one design now, whereas in this first tab, there's 4 different designs. So if anything didn't go right, you can always revert back to this first tab. All right, so in this second tab, real quick, look through it, make sure everything is as it should be, and this is all perfect. So that one is done. I'm going to go ahead and do a file, save stitch file as, and I'm going to save it in my quilting designs, which is on my desktop, Cuties Table Topper. And this is the bundle of quilting, Cuties, embroidery files, Pez, bitty blocks, block by block. Oops. There we go, and say open. And then I'm going to say love bug times 4. Okay. Love bug times 4. Save. And then I'm going to quickly turn on my machine. I'll be right back. All right, and then if your machine is turned on, you can go to, and if your machine is a Wi-Fi ready machine, you can hit Utility, send to Solaris XP1, and say OK, and then you'll get a little pop-up that says File Sent to Machine. All right, so that one is done. Now we can go to work on the outer border. So File, New Page, that opens the 3rd tab. And then I am going to change this to my 10 by 10 hoop just to see if it will fit. So right there, 10 by 10 hoop. I went to this preferences folder to do that, and you can see that I'm zoomed way in. Like if I moved my mouse button, I can see better. So you can do it that way, or when I say mouse button, it's the scroll on your mouse. You can do that, or you can go up here, or you can use this button as well. Whatever works for you. Lots of ways to be able to zoom in. I'm going to just hit H. I like that. All right, so I'm going to go to Merge Stitch File, and I'm going to bring in the quilting design for the outer borders, which is Squares 2. So let's see. I'm going to close up the bitty blocks, and we are on, I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Centers and triangles, no, we want borders, and it is the squares. So right here. All right. Oh, that's for, I was wondering why we already had them. That's for our inner borders. Okay, so it's the same. We want squares. This was the chevron. We want the squares right there. So 2, and I'm going to try the 2 by 10 right here. I don't think it'll fit in my 10-inch hoop, but I'm going to see what happens. So I'm going to double click on this. It'll go to the center, and it does fit because it's 9.5. That's right. So if you select it down here in the bottom, you can see it is 2.5 by 9.5, and so that does fit in my 10-inch hoop. So I'm going to do that. That works really well. You could use your 9 by 14, let me think, so 2, 4, because it's 2.5, so you really need a 10-inch wide to be able to get 4 all together. So you could use your 10 by 16 hoop, or your 10 by 10, or you can do 2 in one hooping and 2 in another hooping. If like you have your 8 by 12 hoop, that would work really well. A 6 by 10 also, which should work, yes it would, to do 2. All right, so that's in the center. I am going to, so for you, I've mentioned this before, you can go ahead and click on step 1 and step 2 and click delete. But I'm not going to do that, just so that I remember to tell everyone in the tutorial to bypass those. But that would be the easiest way for you. Then you don't have to change any colors. I'm going to change one color very simply, since there's only one that is the same. This default one, blue, is on here twice, and one is for the placement of the batting and one is for the placement of the main fabric. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and change this first one, because you'll be able to delete this one. I'm going to just change the color very quickly. And the other colors, there's no overlap, so this is fine. So that was super simple. This one is all ready. I'm going to go ahead and click on this and move it over here, getting it all the way to the corner or to the side. And then I'm going to do a Control C, like Cristin, although there are Cristins with a K, but mine is Cristin with a C. Cristin creates, you know this, creative. Okay, Control C to copy. That's the word, C for copy. And then you would think it's Control P, like Paul, to paste, and it's not. It is Control V, like victory. So Control V to paste it, and you can see it made another one. It goes right on top of the first one. So I'm going to just click on it and move it out of the way. And I'm going to make it wonky so that we can practice that align and distribute button again. All right, another Control V like victory for the third one and move it over here. And then Control V for victory for the last one. And we'll move it all the way to the corner, or the side, sorry, the side. All right, so then we have all four. I'm going to click on this just to be able to see them all easily. So there are our four designs. That is really cute. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and drag up from the bottom. Click from the bottom and drag up to be able to select all four designs, and you can see that they're all wonky here. And I'm going to go to Utility and Align and Distribute right there. All right, and then I think it's this left center, if I recall. I'm going to click on that and say Apply. Yep, that did it great. All right. And then you can see that we have a little bit of space here and no space here. So I'm going to go ahead and click this Distribute tab. And then I've already got center and center selected. I'm going to say Apply, and you'll be able to see these move. All right, so this one moved over. And I'm going to say Close. All right, so this worked out really well. Now we have the same amount of space between them, and they're all perfect. You want to make sure to do that before you do the color sort. If you do the color sort, then instead of the four different designs, you'll just have one design, and it won't be able to distribute it that way. You have to do it before you do a color sort. All right, so we have the four designs. We're going to go ahead and do a color sort because right now we have 20 different steps. So Utility Color Sort, and it reduced it by 15 color changes. I'm going to click New View to check and make sure it did what I think it should do. And there's our placement for our batting, our tack down for our batting. And again, you can delete that first and second step. I'm leaving it in just to show people how to bypass it. But you won't need it if you're adding the batting onto your borders the way that I'm going to show you. All right, and then the third one is the placement for the main fabric strips, and the fourth one is the tack down. Notice it just as the sides when it's the borders, and then the quilting design on all four. So that's perfect. I'm going to say save stitch file as, and I'm going to save this. I'm in the bitty blocks right now, so I'm going to go back to the embroidery files, and it was under border, chevron, and squares. And I'm going to say the 2x10, and I'm going to say quad so that I know that there's four of them, and say save. And then I'm going to go to Utility, send to Solaris XP1, OK, and file sent to machine. Done. How easy was that? Now we get to eat our lunch. Did you make a sandwich today? Doesn't that look so yummy? Ooh, Swiss cheese, lots of lettuce. Cheesecake Factory bread, yummy, yummy, and sunflower seeds, and pesto and sunflower seeds. Doesn't that sound so good? I'm hungry. All right, so let's get working on our outer borders. Okay, to do our second hooping, we've got the first hooping already all quilted. And to do the second hooping, we are going to print out the placement stitch of the main fabric strips. And then we are going to take our strip and fold it in half at the point that we finished from before. So you can easily see where your stabilizer ended and where the quilting ended, and just fold it at that point, very simply. And then we're going to lay the unquilted part down within the squares or rectangles on our hoop, and then fold it back and tape in place. Do that for each of these. Again, simply fold it where the stabilizer has ended, where the quilting has ended, and then place the unquilted part down in the placement stitch for the main fabric and fold it back, making sure that it's all lined up just right. Do that for all 4 pieces, and then we will do the tack down stitch to hold these in place. How are you doing with your goal? I really want to hear about it. So did you know that when you comment on a tutorial video and like and subscribe, it does something to my analytics. It helps my channel somehow. I'm not exactly sure. I haven't taken the time to figure all that out. But supposedly when you subscribe and when you comment, hit that like button even, that somehow that helps my video. So if you can do that, that would be great. So anyway, for our, a way to comment is tell me how you're doing with your goal. Whatever your goal is, it can be something completely different than some of the ones I've suggested. But I love hearing goals and being proactive and working on ourselves, right? It's a brand new year. This is the time to do it. So I want to hear how you're doing. Last night, I'm an iFit. I have an iFit treadmill and an iFit indoor bike. Now that I live in Idaho, I can't ride outdoors all the time. And so iFit is so great. It gives you these little digital badges when you complete something, special. So like at the beginning of January, they had these goals that you do these certain workouts and you get this little tiny badge in your trophy case. It's nothing, right? It's a digital item, but it's something to work toward. And one of the ones, I did the cycling one earlier, and then I did the strength training one just recently. And oh boy, that kicked my butt. But the funny thing is so you have until the end of January, which tomorrow, I think tomorrow is, or today, is it today? It must be today. Today's the last day of January. So I started stressing that I wasn't going to get all the workouts done. You have to do the entire series to earn the badge, the silly little badge, right? Well, so last night, you're supposed to do one a day. I mean, it's strength training. You want your muscles to relax. And I was not in line to finish in time. And so I did 4 of these workouts yesterday. 4. Oh my gosh. Like literally my body is going, stop moving today. No movement allowed. Oh my gosh. I'm so sore. So sore. So that was pretty intense. But I finished. I got my little badge. Silly little badge. So whatever it is that is inspiring you and getting you to work towards your goal, I'm a fan and I want to hear all about it. So share with me, tell me how you're doing with your goal.
In the future, maybe second time through, you can utilize a little bit heavier weights and those kettlebells. I assure you it will be a completely different experience. Again, my friend, I am iFit trainer Kelsey Sheehan. That was so much fun. I am so proud of you. Until next time, which I hope is soon, we will meet again. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
And my shirt today, this is another new one that I made recently. It is a motif sewing machine with flowers. Isn't that pretty? And then I added the wording and I did this envelope style. I have a tutorial just about doing the envelope wording on using Embellishment Essentials. So I did that so that it kind of goes whoo, you know, like that with the thread from the machine. So I used our Embellishment Essentials for that to be able to add the wording in. It wasn't part of the design. And then the design, I think it's from Applique Corner, if I recall. I will add information underneath this video about it, but it's such a pretty motif design. And the sweatshirt is from Macy's. I got it at least a year ago. I think Karen Scott, maybe, I don't remember exactly, but I will add information underneath the video with a link to the design that you can get from, I believe it was Applique Corner, and information on the sweater. I saw that a lot of people in our group have been making sweaters lately or shirts, and I'm loving seeing you guys pushing yourself, trying something new. It's very cool.